Hello everyone, I'm Indu. I would be your instructor for English language for competitive examinations. We would be starting with our first module, verbal ability, and our first topic, the sentence, which is the most basic topic of English language. The sentence is actually a group of words that express a complete thought. So it is evident that we can't read each other's minds or eyes. So we do need a group of words to express our thoughts. So a group of words which express our thought and make complete sense are called the sentence. Since we are talking about the group, a group we would use is. If we just talk about words, words are miraculous. A group of words is a sentence, right? So a sentence has two parts, the subject that names the person or the thing we are talking about. For example, I am teaching you English. So I am the subject, and what I'm doing, I am teaching you English. What is said about the subject? So I'm teaching you English is the predicate. Or I want to drink water. So I am the subject, want to drink water is the predicate. Okay, another example could be her doorbell is ringing. So her doorbell. No, her is the subject. Doorbell is ringing is the predicate. She is so elegant. She is the subject, is so elegant is the predicate. Right? He went to Italy. He is the subject, went to Italy is the predicate. Do go through all these examples in the slide and you would realize the difference between the subject and the predicate. But the most important thing to note here is that the subject does not always come at the beginning of the sentence. So an example could be sit down. So it is an order, an imperative sentence wherein the subject is you, because I'm talking to you. You sit down, but you doesn't appear in the sentence at all, right? Then we have another sentence, for example, sweet are the uses of adversity. So here adversity is the subject because adversity is something whose uses are sweet, right? So adversity is the subject here and sweet are the uses is the predicate. Now I would like you to identify the subject and the predicate in the sentences on the slide so that you become more proficient in identifying subject and the predicate in daily language. So the first one, down went the sun. What went down? Who went down? The sun. So the sun is the subject here. How old is she? So obviously she is the subject here. How did you decide to take the course? So who has decided to take the course? You. So you are the subject here. I played badminton with my childhood friend yesterday. So I'm talking about myself and what I did. So I am the subject here. Played badminton with my childhood friend. That is the predicate part. Give me an hour to finish the work. So give me an hour to finish the work. Here, I am not the subject. It's just a request for an hour to finish the work. So the person to whom you're making the request, so you give me an hour to finish the work, that is the subject here. You is the subject here, and the rest of the sentence is the predicate. The coffee is amazing. The coffee is the subject, is amazing is the predicate. Kindly do me a favor. So again, you're asking, you kindly do me a favor. So you are the subject here, kindly, and do me a favor, kindly do me a favor. That is the predicate part. It has been raining since 48 hours. So it is the subject here, has been raining since 48 hours is the predicate. Now we would be talking about phrase and clause. So we do know that a sentence is something that expresses complete thought and makes complete sense, but a phrase it does make complete sense. Does it? Obviously not. A phrase is a group of words which does make sense but not complete sense. It thus forms a part of the sentence or of a clause. Okay, for example, to teach is my profession. To teach is a phrase because it does not make complete sense on its own. To teach what? To teach who? It doesn't make complete sense. But to teach is my profession. That is a complete sentence. It does make complete sense. Okay, so now clause. A group of words which has a subject and predicate of its own but forms a part of the sentence is called a clause. Right? It does make complete sense. It has a subject and a predicate of its own, but it still makes a part of the sentence. We would be talking about clause in much more detail further, but for now, I would like you to compare column A and column B. Here, to steal. To steal is just a phrase. To steal is a bad thing. That is a sentence. Got through. She got through the semester. Got through is just a phrase. And she got through the semester is a complete sentence. Similarly, with the third one, as soon as is a phrase. And as soon as I reached the airport, that is a clause. Because as soon as I reached the airport, what? As soon as I reached the airport, I rushed to take coffee. Or as soon as I reached the airport, I realized I was late. So, or as soon as I reached the airport, I realized my flight was delayed. So, as soon as I reached the airport is a clause. As soon as is a phrase. And as soon as I reached the airport, I realized my flight was delayed. That is a complete sentence. So we do have to keep these things in mind. Okay. English is a subject, verb, object language. For example, I am teaching you. So I am the subject. I'm teaching. The teaching is the verb. And you are the object, right? I am teaching you. I am drinking water. So I am the subject, followed by the verb, and water is the object. Okay. So now we would be looking at these three sentences on the slide, which, despite having the same words, do mean different. They have the same words, they have been rearranged, but just the rearrangement of the words changes the meaning of the sentence completely. Right? So, the first one, Inayat only qualified for the test. So, that sentence means to tell us that Inayat only qualified for the test. She did not get a position. She did not stand first, second, or third, or some great position in the class. She only qualified. Right? The second one, only Inayat qualified for the test. Now, the second one has a positive connotation. So it says only Inayat, out of all the other people who took the test, only Inayat qualified for the test. Right? And the third one, Inayat qualified only for the test. So that one says that Inayat qualified, but just for the test, not for the other rounds. So maybe there was a discussion round after that, an interview round after that, but Inayat qualified only for the test. She did not qualify for the other rounds. Right? So all these three sentences have the same words, but the position of the word only being different in each of the sentences. None of these sentences mean the same. They all have different meanings and different connotations, and that is really important to note. Now, we would be talking about the structure words. So, you all might be knowing about the situation of Chennai right now. There's a huge cyclone. So, In a similar context, we have the sentence, that town was destroyed by tsunami yesterday. So, what is the cause of the town being destroyed? Tsunami is the cause, right? That town, that does not have a meaning of its own. By does not have a meaning of its own. But they do have their functions in the sentence. The tsunami was, the town was destroyed by the tsunami yesterday. The inclusion makes the meaning of other words more clear, right? That talks about that specific town. It tells us about a specific town. And by introduces us to the agent, cyclone, tsunami. So by introduces us to the agent. If we drop these words from the sentence, it won't convey a proper meaning. So these words, they are essential for the construction of the sentence, and they make the meaning of other words more clear by their functional use. Thus, such words are called structure words. Now, we will be talking about the kinds of sentences. We have classified sentences by their purpose, and we start with assertive sentences, or the sentences that make statements. For example, I love teaching. The prince loved hunting. Honesty is the best policy. She did not work hard. I am getting a phone call. I do not smoke. So these sentences, they make statements, they make assertions. So they are declarative sentences, right? Now, there are sentences that give orders and advice or make requests. For example, stop talking, right? So that's an order. Or a request. Please show your ticket. That's a request. Respect your elders. That's an advice. Do not idle away your time. That's again an advice. So these imperative sentences or commands, they either give orders and advice or they make requests. So it is really important that we know the purpose of these sentences. Okay, now we have interrogative sentences, obviously those that ask questions. For example, will you take my class? May I help you? What is your name? Haven't you finished your homework yet? Right, so all these sentences that ask questions are interrogative sentences. Then we have exclamatory sentences, those that express strong feelings. For example, how shabby you look. What a lovely morning. Hurrah, we won the match. So they express strong feelings. I'm so happy that we won the match. Alas, the old man is dead. Now that is again a very strong feeling, a sad emotion. You know, when someone is shattered. Now we have optative sentences, those that express a wish or a prayer. May you live long. May you find your love. May you qualify the test. Oh, for a cup of tea. Would that you were here. So these are optative sentences, those that express a wish or a prayer. Now, we would be talking about the word order in declarative and assertive sentences. So we do know that the sentences that state facts, describe things, or report events are called statements, right? These are statements, these are declarative assertive sentences because they make assertions, they declare something. Obviously, these sentences are always followed by a period, that is a full stop. And when the sentence is positive, it's called affirmative. When the sentence has a negative connotation, it's called a negative sentence. So we have a couple of examples here. The first one being our library has 50,000 books. It's declaring, it's stating that our library has these many books. So obviously, it's a declarative sentence. It's a statement. Pandit Nehru was born in Allahabad. Again, a statement. So In these statements, the subject always comes before the predicate. For example, our library is the subject, has these many books, that's the predicate. Pandit Nehru is the subject, was born in Allahabad is the predicate. I am the subject, like playing badminton is the predicate. So the subject here comes before the verb, and the object and other parts follow it, right? So the word order is subject with its enlargement, the finite verb, and the extension of the predicate. So subject, for example, Shiva is the subject, is the verb, not a tall boy, that is the extension of the predicate, right? So we should remember the word order of each kind of sentence that we study. Now we talk about imperative sentences. Help the poor. Kindly excuse me for the delay. So here, these sentences, obviously, they express an order, a request, an advice, a command, a suggestion. They are obviously known by the common name commands, but all of them are not commands. Some are requests, some are suggestions. And they could be followed by an exclamation or a full stop. Advice and ordinary requests take a full stop, urgent orders and strong requests take a marker of explanation. What is important to note in imperative sentences is that the subject of imperative sentences is you, although it may not appear in the sentence. This understood you may refer to one person or a group of persons. For example, if I come to the class and I say, kindly excuse me for the delay, I am talking about all of you who are listening to me or who are waiting for me, and I ask all of you to apologize me for the delay, right? So you are the subject here. You apologize me for the delay. So it is important to note that you are the subject, even though the word you is not written in the sentence, but it is understood, right? Excuse me for the delays. Kindly excuse me for the delay. So it's understood that I'm asking you to excuse me, right? So the word order can be put as the finite form of the verb, the first form of the verb plus object plus the extension of the predicate. First form of the verb as in bring me a glass of water. So bring is the first form of the verb. Bring, bought if you know. So bring is the first form of the verb. A glass of water is the object. And Mohan is the extension of the predicate. Yeah. Actually, Mohan is the subject here because, for example, if I ask, bring me a glass of water, Mohan, so Mohan is who I'm asking. So again, here the subject doesn't appear at the beginning of the sentence, it's at the end of the sentence, right? So you bring me a glass of water, Mohan, is what she means to say. You are the subject, bring me a glass of water. Okay, that is the imperative sentence. Now we talk about interrogative sentences where the word order obviously is the helping verb. Interrogative word followed by the helping verb plus subject, verb, and extension of the predicate. So, for example, when did you go to Madras? So, when is the interrogative word. Did you go to Madras? So, did is the helping verb, and you are the subject. Go is the verb, and to Madras is the extension of the predicate. It is important that we note each and every example studied thoroughly. If the verb is finite, the word order will be interrogative verb plus finite verb plus subject and the extension, right? In case the question begins with a helping verb, right? In case the question begins with a helping verb, so it would be helping verb plus modal auxiliary helping verb, which is the modal auxiliary, the subject, verb, and extension of the predicate. So for example, will you help me pick up these beads? So will is the helping verb, you is the subject, help me is the verb, pick up these beads is the extension of the predicate. Now we talk about the word order of exclamatory sentences. Obviously, the word order of exclamatory sentences is interrogative word plus subject plus verb with a mark of interrogation, right? The difference between the exclamatory sentence and an interrogative sentence is that the subject comes before the auxiliary verb. The subject comes before the auxiliary verb in an exclamatory sentence. And obviously, there's a note of exclamation at the end of the sentence. So, for example, if I say, how clever has he been? That is an interrogative sentence. How clever he has been. That is an exclamatory sentence. So the word order, the important thing here is that the subject is before the auxiliary verb in an exclamatory sentence. Right? Now we talk about optative sentences. Optative sentences generally begin with the word may and the subject, and the word order is may I help you. So may, I am the subject, help is the verb, you, right? So may, subject, verb plus exclamation. Optative sentences, in optative sentences, you express a prayer or a wish, and the sentence ends with a mark of exclamation, right? We would next be talking about the phrase and the clause. The phrase is a group of words which make sense but not complete sense, as we already talked about before, right? So for example, life is not a bed of roses. I met him on the way. We go to school in the morning. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. So now we have the first sentence here. I have not italicized it because I wanted you to do that. You need to identify the phrases here on your own. So these phrases don't have a subject or a predicate. So for example, the first one, a bed of roses. A bed of roses has no subject, no predicate, but it's a phrase. On the way. I met him on the way. On the way has no subject, no predicate. Again, it's a phrase. It makes sense, but not complete sense. We go to school in the morning. In the morning. In the morning what? So in the morning does make sense, but not complete sense. So it's a phrase. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Right? So again, is a joy forever is a phrase. He ran at full speed. At full speed is a phrase because it does make sense, but it doesn't make sense. At full speed, what? Is joy forever what? Right? Okay. So phrases may be classified according to the function they perform in a sentence. That is part of speech for which they are used. For example, if a phrase is being used, if a phrase does the work of a noun, for example, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Right? Now, a thing of beauty does the work of a noun. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. It was a scene of great beauty. Right? So here, we do classify them according to the words they perform, but I would say that we've done enough for today. We would be studying the kinds of phrases and in fact, everything about clauses and phrases in our next class. Meanwhile, I would suggest you to start talking more in English, start reading books, start reading daily newspapers. So that would help you to increase your, language understanding by a significant amount, especially the newspaper, and conversing in English is really important for you at this point. And do let me know if you have any doubts. I would be sending you the PPTs so that you can go through them again and have a look at them. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for today. We would be meeting in the next class and discussing phrases and sentences again.